Okay. I hope the thumbnail is pretty good for y'all, but I just made that real quick. I actually had that ready for a while, I'm not gonna lie, but I just have not put it to good use, I guess. And it's more like a common matchup anyway. People have the people have a lot of recency bias, so that's why I just said, do I just want to do like a regular gameplay stream, or do I want to do uh, a couple of versus matchups for y'all or whatever? And I figured, what the hell, just do versus matchups because our last few videos has been doing good in terms of like views, and people do are starting to come to me for like questions and stuff regarding the monsters. So I was like, you know what? I should have just did this a while ago. And but yeah, every Saturday or Sunday, I'm gonna try and stream like around 8 or 9. I might just bump it to 9 o'clock because I just be busy around 8 for some reason. But it's whatever. I'm here. I'm probably gonna stream for like two hours, depending on like who really comes in and start asking questions. Because I don't want to just yap to the airspace, but I can do that too. I'm used to it. And then I could just make shorts or whatever. So like whatever monsters y'all have like a matchup for, just let me know. Like for example, like my thumbnail, like Astalos versus like Raid Owl or something. Like if y'all want my thoughts on that, you can also let me know, and I'll answer because that I can talk about for like 30 something minutes. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna also type it in the chat real quick, so give me a second. I did not know I could pin comments, so I guess I'll just leave that there. But yeah, that's just a general consensus. So I guess until more people flood in, I could just talk about my initial thoughts on like, honestly speaking, let's just talk about like Mitsune versus Ufduna, right? So that whole thing was an interesting like play on like the power versus speed type of gimmick. That's like saying, well, the cheetah is faster than a lion, so the cheetah could win because it's faster. And then also the reverse can be said like the lion has more power, so like once it gets its jaws on like the cheetah, it's pretty much wraps, right? So that fight was kind of like that. But since this is like a fantasy game, it's a little different than anything like that. Speed does play Speed does play a crucial part in Monster Hunter, with most of these monsters being able to like react to lightning. Like Mitsune, obviously it fights with Astalos a lot, so like it's reacting to his attacks pretty well. And Astalos is always amped up in a way. The green lightning stuff. Um, as you know, there's a charge state and then there's a normal state. So his charge state does increase his power and his attack, but it also increases like his defense and stuff because his scales are kind of like insectoids like type of things. So people go with the underlying fact that Mitsune is pretty weak when you compare it to like Ufduna and stuff. And I will say Ufduna is mainly utilized for like body slams and just physical brute force. And you could tell by the way he fights by creating tidal waves and stuff like that. And just go overall trying to pit its entire weight on, its prey and competitors. So it's really just about if Uduna can actually get the body slam off on Mizutsune, or if Mizutsune can just slide around the attack and do damage. But the bad part about Mizutsune is that it's Uduna is too I'm gonna just say chubby. It's too chubby, so its defense is pretty much up there. So, like in terms of physicals, Ufduna does outclass Mizutsune by a large margin. But Mizutsune just has a lot more going for it, in my opinion. Like the speed, even its attack is way better than Ufduna, and I do think that a pressurized shot of water from a Mizutsune could actually do more damage to an Ufduna, but like it's a water-based monster, so it's not going to do too much. Even though I feel like that shouldn't play a big part in most of these debates, anyway. Um, no, that's the wrong thing to say. I do believe that Turf War was kind of like, I will say, people don't really like go back. They see it one time and they don't analyze the fight by a slow margin in a way. And so like I like to go back to these turf wars. I like to slow down the fights just to see who really wins or who really comes to a draw. And that fight is more of a draw anyway, because like both of them couldn't really do anything to each other. So it really came down to like Mizutsune slipping up and getting caught by Ufduna anyway, right? And so like getting thrown away, that wasn't really like a one all be all type of fight. If I'm saying the thing right, it was more of a showcase to just show off like Mitsune's speed and Ufduna's just pure raw physicals. And so, genuinely, I do believe that turf war was it showcased the power versus speed difference pretty well, but like it really does not mean that Ufduna is stronger by any means than Nudusene. If anything, it just means that depending on the situation, Ufduna is probably going to just be able to shrug off its attacks as opposed to outright just winning. It's more of a battle of attrition. And so a lot of people don't really analyze Monster Hunter turf wars or fights in general that from what I'm seeing, there's very few people that I've seen in the fan base that can actually, decipher these turf wars without being biased. And I'm gonna sound like a freaking horn, but like recency bias is a thing. And so a lot of people nowadays believe the Faded Four is just washed when they're really not. And so it's really like funny, right? Like I could give Jin Dahad like the go ahead because like you look at it, but then you could also look at Gameth and you be like, who's really gonna go after these two monsters, right? And so pitting those two monsters in specific is weird because like it really comes down to like Gameth being able to, get off like her body slams that she does, right? And so when you just pair these monsters with similar elements, you just gotta it really comes down to like weight class, and other things in that manner. And if I'm saying anything that doesn't sound right, feel free to let me know. Like this is a friendly discussion, right? Even though I put debate in the title, it's really like crazy that the recency bias towards the Faded Four is like very negative when prior to this like nobody was really saying this stuff. So like I guess another reason why I will always defend the Faded Four is because they just have like Um, Actually, no, I won't always defend them. You know, I kind of sound biased. I try not to be biased or anything like that, but it really is this fan base for some reason. They eat stuff up like so quick. They're just biased towards a lot of things. Um, Especially when they listen to most of these YouTubers when it comes to like the power system in Monster Hunter. So like, I'm not gonna give out any names because I don't need somebody like to rat me out. But like, people will ate up this Twitter post about the Teppen Latreon and Nergigante picture, and I'm pretty sure there's nothing confirming that interaction was canon. And even if it was, I will just make a video outright debunking any Nergigante fans because I'm just learning a lot more stuff. And so I just learned about the Elder Dragon tiering system, and Nergigante is not even a class 3 or grade 3 Elder Dragon. He's a grade 2 Elder Dragon, which means he's above like the grade 1s, obviously. But when if he were to fight a grade 3, he's going to have a difficult time. He might win, don't get me wrong, but like, he's not going to have a favorable type of, situation. And so the grade 3 Elder Dragons I learned is Nara, Ibushi, Guys Magorm, and considering it's these threes, you could actually pit like Squirm Magnamalo here. You could also pit Malzeno, even though Squirm Magnamalo is not a Elder Dragon, his power is still on par with grade 3 Elder Dragons. And Malzeno is self-explanatory. Base Malzeno ties with Volcana, and then Primordial just outright beats it, And even if you were to slow down that turf war, it's just cut and dry. That Primordial Malzeno is just the better of those two. And so, like, you don't need to go through this rabbit hole to try and prove that Nergigante is stronger. Well, you can, right? Because, like, you could say that Nergigante is more physically gifted than Primordial Malzeno because their builds. Nergigante looks a bit more bulky, and so people will probably try to run with that, or they'll try to say that his regeneration is like instant. His regeneration is not instant. I don't know where people got that from, but when I'm fighting him, it's not instant. That takes a while to even come in, and even then, that doesn't feel like something that comes back quick. I don't think we've seen a monster regenerate as fast as like Safi'jiiva, who's able to just take the bioenergy from the land, the area that he's in. And if I'm wrong, please feel free to tell me, but I just don't see how adding Nergigante's regeneration to the debate is a valid argument when it's not that fast. That's more of a gameplay gimmick, but like, excluding the gameplay stuff, I don't see Nergigante ever beating Malzeno, in my opinion. And so that's just really my thoughts on that. But like, with the new Elder Dragon tiering system I learned, it really puts in perspective how strong these Elder Dragons are. But that doesn't mean that a grade 1 is just never going to outright beat a grade 2. That just means that it's more destructive in a way. But that's still up for debate, though. But that was mainly my opinions on like the Nergigante section of things. I just think the problem with this fan base when it comes to actually doing like monster matchups is most of them I don't want to sound rude or anything, but most of them actually don't even try to do the research, because all you really can do, you could go to I think it goes by Ban Gammoth now. Oh my god, I love that name. You go to him, you could get the information. You go anywhere, right? You could get a Japanese copy of a book or whatever, and you could get a translator to translate for you, or just use AI to translate. But yeah, if you like take that with a grain of salt, or just reach out to somebody that seems knowledgeable, like me. Like I'm always gonna promote myself. Like I will do the research for most people when it comes to like these monsters and stuff, because some people don't just have they don't have the time to do their own research. So I don't mind doing it myself. That's another reason why I even started doing, like these Monster Hunter. I don't want to say power scaling videos, but like that's why I started, because the fan base has a problem with like misinformation and stuff like that. When there are several good channels out here that does lore accurate content, and they go over the ecology of monsters, and they will briefly go over like how strong the monster is sometimes. And it's just, that's where I usually get my information from anyway. Or I go into the deep web, not like that, but like to find the information on some of these monsters. And most times I would have to get like just a Japanese text and try to translate it myself, because the Japanese versions comes out first mainly. So whatever the text that they say about a specific monster is usually the accurate term, because even when they translate stuff to the West for us, it is mainly poorly localized and mistranslated. So I always tell people, take what even I say with a grain of salt. I'm just going off of, what I'm usually seeing. And then sometimes I'll go to my Discord server and like ask them, like, is this accurate, or is this consistent with what else other people say? And so that's just like one problem I see with this fan base when it comes to, the versus debates that they have, and just like overall they're biased and stuff like that. I sound like a dead horse saying that over and over, but like this fan base goes insanely hard over. They go crazy with being biased, and I just sit there and watch them. I'm like, bro, that's not what's really happening and stuff like that. And even if I did forget what happens, I always watch this a gameplay on YouTube, just somebody playing the full game, so I could read the text myself to see if it's true or not. Most people, like I said before, they don't have the time to do all that, so I usually go out of my way to do it myself, because like, why not? And like, even though I did just switch my channel to Monster Hunter stuff, I still feel like I do a decent enough job to like give you guys like proper information. And there are a lot of channels out here that started doing Monster Hunter videos, like these versus matches, like crossover versus matches, power scaling videos about like it can Dominus Rex survive Monster Hunter World, Monster Hunter in general? No, she can't, by the way. How to Train a Dragon stuff, like can Toothless survive like Monster Hunter World and stuff? No, he can't. It's just like those topics are interesting, right? But like most people are just very biased in those videos, especially if they are known for one thing, right? Especially if they don't have somebody else with them that's more informed on whatever verse they're talking about with them. Just expect a biased viewpoint, because not a lot of people in these new power scaling videos seem to go in depth on like what they're talking about, And so when I see these Monster Hunter videos, it's either people going with surface level stuff, or just outright going overboard with like the dimensional scaling and stuff like that. Like I even seen somebody say Nergigante is like moon level or whatever, and then I go to their comment sections, and there's just actually people just in there just eating that up. And like, I go out of my way to avoid debating with other YouTubers on here, but I think I'm about to start going in these comment sections on these Monster Hunter videos and just telling them like, no, this is wrong, or like at least try to like help them, like offer like, bro, do you need me to help you with your scaling or whatever? Because like, you don't need to go out of your way to do your own like type of calculations, when Monster Hunter is a series where statements is more important than anything else, because those statements are usually correct in a way. And like ever since I learned that whatever when I bring up the Iceborne Dive book in my shorts, always mention that this is all from an in-universe perspective. That means that's not the people at Capcom telling us that this is true. It's the people inside Monster Hunter, like scientists and stuff, telling us that this is true. And so, like, the fact that in Monster Hunter World, there's the researcher that says, like, Elder Dragons can, like, cripple nations and even outright destroy them. And usually nations attributes to stuff like countries and stuff. So, like, most Elder Dragons are in those country level ranges. And so that's all you really need to do. Some people go out of the way to do calculations and stuff like that. I'm like, bro, you don't really need to do all that. You're just straining yourself, you know? And so it's just very weird in a way, how people eat up these videos, and then they go around and spread that misinformation. And that's a big problem in this fan base. I said this before, but like misinformation in this fan base is, oh my goodness. Like I always recommend people go watch Oceans, and because he's like one of my favorite lore channels, and there's also a few. Also like Zenny. Zenny is a good channel to watch for basic lore information. And like I said before on Twitter, Ban Gammoth is also good. Lou Tyrannus is also good as well for just a general place for people to go for information on the monster and stuff. I think there's also one called Straight Academy as well. They're pretty good as well. Like, don't strain yourself. Like, you go in their DMs and ask them a question about a specific monster, and they'll probably tell you the information that you need. Even though I haven't done that personally, you know, because I'm a shy person, believe it or not. But it's always good to at least try to reach out. So whenever I do see people in my comments on my shorts asking me to, can I talk about this monster? Even though I'll be like, I said, oh yeah, I got you in like 2 days. It'll be taking like a month or two. I'm just really going to do the research myself. Like I'm supposed to do an Arc World video, but then I learned some new stuff about the Elder Dragons in the tiering system. And I'm like, damn, I got to do this first. But then it's just like, I'm doing, you know, research and stuff before I make these videos, because a lot of people don't have that skill. They're not really independent researchers and stuff like that. And it's just it's a bit disappointing, you know. But like there's also Omni and Hondev. Those two are also one of my favorite Monster Hunter power scaling YouTubers. Even though they're doing a lot of stuff in their Discord server and whatnot, like trying to translate the books and stuff. So I can't wait for that, because yeah, those translations will come in handy and whatnot. And it's just like, that's why I also made this stream, like with the title saying like I'm just gonna be debating versus matchups that I really just see on Twitter and stuff, because like I don't mind going in these comment sections on Twitter and outright, you know, debating with people that this and that, because I like informing people. So I try to say like discussions and not debates, but most people, oh my God, they just get so pissy with you, and like they start calling you out your name and stuff, and it's just like, okay, like if y'all were to become like actual professional debaters, you know, calling people out their names and stuff is like already just telling me that you have like an ego problem, and just like you're not really, you know, meant to be in the debating and discussion type of stuff, because nobody really go in these professional settings and just call people out their names and stuff. Like, I don't know, like I see it so many times, and it's just like, yeah, okay, bro. So that's why I really don't really go to these other channels and go in the comment sections, because they'll either say something slick to you when you're trying to inform them on something. And like this one video I seen about the Moon Level Nergigante stuff was like, he was just like calling people like idiots and stuff. And then there's just other people that just are worse when it comes to like power scaling and stuff like that. But that's just a general thing. But that's just what I saw from like, you know, Monster Hunter fans, or quote unquote fans, because they either misinterpret what a character says and try to go overboard with it and overhype it or stuff like that. But I always tell people Monster Hunter is not a hard series to power scale. If anything, it's the easiest verse of the power scale because Fatalis, right, is like he's like solar system that I learned recently, solar system level. So like when people go overboard, like yeah, like somebody tried to argue with me about like crossovers and stuff like that. I don't use crossovers because like if you need crossovers for your series for you to hype up your character you're debating, um, it's not a good look, really. So like Fatalis without crossovers and stuff, he's already in those like higher tiers of like solar system and stuff like that. So it's like, why would I need a crossover when Fatalis is already stronger than most verses that people are really just gonna be, debating and stuff. And I do blame Versus Wiki for their misinformation about Fatalis and saying like he only caps at like country because every other monster in this franchise is at least already country level, And the Black Dragons, even though that's a fan term, if y'all did not know, that is a fan term. But it's pretty much a staple for the fan base. But the Black Dragons, like Elatrion, Darby Morales, and Fatalis. And if you consider Safi'jiiva to be a Black Dragon too, I guess this counts as well. They're all planet level. They're planetary. I don't know why people still run with the country level stuff. Because then you're telling me that Kushala can, fight toe to toe with Fatalis. That doesn't make sense when you in the grand scheme of things. It sounds crazy even saying that, but there are people. I had somebody tell me that Chloe Turoff looked like she can move a mountain more than Fatalis, and I'm like, I was like, you did this based off appearances, and there's oh my god, the common thing. Don't judge a book by its cover. Like, okay, yeah, she looked like she can move a mountain. She probably can destroy a mountain, considering on where you scale her. But saying that Fatalis is like can't even move a mountain is kind of crazy. But people are just just something else, man, and it's just it's pretty disappointing how they are and stuff when it comes to debates, but it's whatever. Okay. Yeah, I had to cool off. And like I don't got an AC in my room, so like I usually mute myself so I can turn on my fan real quick just to cool off because I was talking for like 20 minutes straight and I got hot, of course. But I think I was talking about like how people undermine Fatalis in this fan base because like, Death Battle years ago when he did their whatever for Fatalis, and like I'm pretty sure somebody there was like, yeah, this is wrong or whatnot. But I actually do want to like go to the actual wiki and change things there because Fatalis like capping that country plus. I think last I checked, that's a wild thing that they put there, and it's just yeah, they need to desperately like over. They need to overhaul that whole wiki. Actually, that thing is not reliable. I need people to stop using that for their Monster Hunter stuff because, like I said before, I don't want to sound like I have an ego or anything, but like I will literally do the research for y'all to find out how strong a monster is, and like I'm not the only one. I have a Discord server where we just, sometimes we update each other on like the new scaling change for Monster Hunter and stuff, and like I'm currently working on a few. Um, Now, but I gotta do like my proper research before I bring it out in public and not sound like an idiot. But like, I think the Fatalis they get. Oh my god, I can't speak. The Fatalis downplay needs to stop too. Um, that is like because like now people are really just downplaying him because his design when he's meant to look like a basic dragon. And like Safijiva looks like a basic dragon too. Like all those monsters look like basic dragons, but they're meant to look like that because the more normal something looks in Monster Hunter, usually attributes to its power as well. But for some reason, people don't know that either. So it comes down to like people just being biased or whatever. All right. Let's see. What other debates do I see most of the time? Hmm. Because off the dome, a lot of people just like debating Nergigante. I'm like, bro, like, it's like, oh my god, Nergigante is not the only monster in this franchise y'all could talk about when it comes to versus matchups. People are not gonna like me. I said to him any chance I get. I don't know why. It's just fun doing it. But like, woo, people are just something else. Oh yeah, that's what I also want to talk about too. Like people confuse like Nergigante and Ruiner Nergigante for some reason, and they just outright say Nergigante, this and that. And I'm like, okay, but that's just base Nergigante. It's not Ruiner. There's a big difference in power between Ruiner Nergigante and Nergigante, and people don't see that. Like Nergigante just caps at being around a G1 tier Elder Dragon, like sitting at the very top of that tier. And by G1, I just mean like just the base Elder Dragons, like Kushala, Teostra and stuff, because we have not seen anything impressive from base Nergigante to give us the fact that, oh yeah, this man is a G2 and above monster. But Ruin Nergigante was confirmed to be at the G2 tier, so I'll give it that. But when it comes to base Nergigante, people just go running along with the fact that it's sweeping the entirety of monster in the world. When honestly speaking, I don't Nergigante is not really touching you know most of these other monsters in this franchise. Like even Xeno'jiiva is more impressive than base Nergigante, which is wild, but it's just a fact at that point. And yeah, it's just like Nergigante is also not really touching Zora as well. Like it pretty much just the Monster in the World pretty much showed us like how that fight go anyway. With Nergigante just not being able to do anything, but like Bite, it's like the platforms that we sat on. So like Nergigante is not really that strong. Like I do believe Zora Magdaros is also I believe Zora is like G a G3 class Elder Dragon. And that's simply because I don't even see Ruiner really challenging it. I don't see Shara challenging Zora as well. Volcano's definitely not challenging Zora too, I think. I could be wrong. I'm gonna have to look that up. I think my friend told me that Volcano was stronger than anything previously seen, which could honestly be true, but we really did not even defeat Zora. That was like we're just repelling it at that point. And even then it wasn't a solo hunter effort. That was like a whole fleet that needed to push it back. So like I still see Zora above like most of these other Elder Dragons most people, claim to be stronger. And that's just my opinion on that whole situation. I still think Zora is like up there as like one of the stronger Elder Dragons, especially if you believe like it could destroy the entirety of the new world, which is, I can't stress this enough, a new continent, but people seem to disagree with the fact that it's only a country level explosion that it would do. But like the Wyverian said, like if Zora was to die, it would destroy the entire new world. And the new world is a new continent, right? So like where do you get the argument that the new world is just a country when and I've seen even people try to go with the country level thing by using the map and like, yeah, this map is small or whatever, so it's really this and that. But we have not even discovered the entirety of the new world for us to say, well, it's just a country. I mean, I guess you could argue that as well. So, like, since we didn't see the entirety of the New World, we can't just say that, oh yeah, Zoro's gonna be able to destroy the whole thing, and it could just destroy like a portion of it. But like that Wyverian statement stating that it was gonna just destroy the entire New World should really just put it at like continental. But like people don't like hearing that. So whenever I do make a video about it, I just say, okay, he's probably like country or whatever. But like genuinely speaking, I still think that's like a continental type of thing because like this is like me saying Goku could destroy um what's the word? Could destroy like North America, but but then you use a map of like North America and you just circle Florida, and that's like the entirety of the continent. That's like saying Florida is the entirety of the of like New York or whatever. Not New York, of North America. Like that doesn't make sense. Even me saying that whole section does not make sense. So I don't know why people just cap it out as country, but it's whatever. Um, what else? What else? What other topics um do I see going around? Um, oh yeah, I seen the Valstrax and versus like Nergigante and stuff. Always Nergigante. Uh, that is a interesting topic because like All right, I cooled off for a little bit. I was actually scrolling on Twitter, or whatever, trying to find something. But yeah, so lots of people really like they just I don't know. A lot of people in the fan base, like I said at the beginning of like this stream, like especially when it comes to like Nurgante and like Elatron and stuff, when like pitting them together in a debate, like to see who's stronger. Um, it's just a weird experience seeing how they talk and their points and whatnot. Like I'm not saying that. Well, honestly speaking, I don't think Electron won't have too much of an issue fighting Nergigante, right? Because again, because again, um, people confuse Ruiner and Face Nergigante. Um, Ruiner Nergigante is usually the one people talk about the most, but they just outright say Nergigante. And since I'm someone that keeps doing these type of discussion videos, I like to be very on point with like what I'm who I'm talking about. Like if I were to talk about like Ivory Lagicris and versus let's say Azure Rathalos or something, I'm not gonna say Lagicris versus Rathalos, right? Because I'm using their subspecies. I'm not using um their base forms. Like I think people confuse that a lot with Runa Nergigante, and they do need to, you know, learn the difference before they get in these debates. Because especially with me, because I'm gonna be like, well, that's just base Nergigante. What can he really do, right? Um, and even then, I don't think base Nergigante is even that impressive. Especially when you look at his turf wars, and even when you look at like the Iceborne diet books for um like Ruben Nergigante and like Savage Deviljho and stuff. Savage Deviljho can like fight very well against you know against like Runa Nergigante and Volcana. It's pretty much confirmed like inverse that Savage Deviljho is on that same tier. So Savage Deviljho is like a G2 Oda Dragon level combatant, which is like I always say that's impressive because like um a lot of people, especially like Nergigante fans, they don't like hearing that these other monsters are like on the same tier or can beat um Nergigante, but like they do need to be fact checked because like those are mainly the main fans that usually eat up like misinformation like a lot, and so like it's just a very weird um that side of the fan base is like very weird. I don't really interact with too many Nergigante fans anyway. Um, it's usually just me from like the other side of the street, just watching inward, like how they react, like how they talk and stuff like that. And it's just they're kind of disappointing, right? Because from what I noticed, they're like the figure for some reason. They're like the figurehead of the community, the Monster Hunter community. So like even somebody that I talked to at work, I was like, "Yo, you know about Monster Hunter and stuff?" He was like, "Is that the one where um they have like this monster called Nergigante?" I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "Bro, those fans are crazy." And I was like, "Damn!" I was like, "There's no way like people know about Monster Hunter due to a reputation of like Nergigante fans just being poor." And I was like, "Wow," So like they are a big problem in the community as well. Probably not in recent years because like we got new monsters that it seems like they finally accepted the fact that most of these new monsters are just like outright stronger. Then Ruiner Nergigante, like Square Magnamalo is clearly above um Ruiner Nergigante. There's no debate. There's no debating that actually because like um Magnamalo is just like everything that Nergigante should have been, right? So like I learned that Magnum Malo, this is base Magnum Malo, mind you, so this also kind of aligns well with scoring Magnum Malo. So Magnum Malo does get stronger while it fights as well. So that means while it's fighting a monster, it's getting stronger as well. It's pretty much like a sand. It's pretty much like Broly, actually. Gets stronger while he fights. So like off that, when you do context clues like that, Magnum Malo is getting stronger during as the fight goes on. Nergigante is getting tired as the fight goes on because a lot of people seem to forget Nergigante is one of the actually is the only Elder Dragon I'm pretty sure that gets tired while it's fighting, and Elder Dragons have almost like infinite stamina. So like when people do pit these do pit Nergigante in these debates, they seem to forget that Nergigante gets tired. So it's kind of funny because they don't like mentioning that at all, and I'm just like, well, let's mention like, yeah, bro, Nergigante gets tired. So like when you're doing these arguments, it's pretty much like insane, right? Especially when they try to compare Nergigante to Valstrax, and oh lord, Valstrax. So like Valstrax is an interesting monster because like it's definitely stronger than Nergigante, which a lot of people don't seem to realize that yet. But like the fact that it's pretty much confirmed to be a rival to like Amatsu, and this is not even like for not like doesn't need to be said. Everything doesn't need to be said, right? You just use context clues. Valstrax and Crimson Glow Valstrax is out here fighting against Amatsu, and mind you, Amatsu is already scales above like natural disasters. It got an upgrade, and I think in Generations Ultimate they state that yeah, Amatsu is stronger than natural disasters, right? And so no other Elder Dragon was confirmed to be above natural disasters, at least excluding like the G3, the G4 Elder Dragons, right? G4 is like the global Elder Dragons like Safi, Fatalis, and stuff. G3 is Geismagorm, Narwa, and Nabushi, and the All-Mother and stuff. And so like Amatsu is also in that G3 tier, simply because it is a Calamity class like Elder Dragon G3, right? So you have this other Elder Dragon, right? In Valstrax, who sees that this G3 Elder Dragon is a rival, it's in his territory, right? That's how Valstrax sees it, and they pretty much told us, like, not even without telling us, context clues. Crimson Glow Valstrax does pop up at the Amatsu fight and Rise, right? And then even in the I think the scrapped or no, there's a video on YouTube where they show Valstrax like tanking a Dragonator, mind you, before it pretty much sees Amatsu in the distance. He was like, "Nah, I'm gonna go fight that thing." After tanking a Dragonator to the chest, right? So off the bat, its durability is already cracked, and it's going to fight another monster after taking that damage. So it really boils down to like, really like a lot of stuff in these debates, because like the problem with Nergigante fans is that I feel like they know what they want to say, but they don't know how to say it, and they just end up spewing like idiocy. Like, I don't want to sound rude or anything, but they just say the wrong things, and it's not a good outlook, because even then, they're saying stuff outside the fan base as well that pretty much backs people away, because even one of my coworkers doesn't want to get into Monster Hunter because he does not like Nergigante fans. And I do agree with him, like, at first, because, like, they're crazy, mind you. But, like, only my problems with them is, like, they think he's, like, way too strong, right? So he's pretty much, like, Aura Farm, Aura Farming Merchant, right? That's all he really has going for him. Like, yeah, his design is cool, like, and stuff like that. Like, I like it. Like, if anything, he's like top three. It's like a top 10 design, right? But like, in terms of power, I don't even think he gets into like the top 15 or top 10. I'll be generous. I don't think he could reach the top 10 list because like I didn't even mention like a Cantor or Ucanlos yet, right? And so it's like when it comes to onto the like the Valstrax and Nergigante debate, you gotta really like do your research with that because um Valstrax has a lot going for him than most people think, right? Valstrax is funny because not only is he fast, like one of the fastest monsters, right? He's very powerful physically. He's not just uh, a speedster. Like he has power. He's like one of the most balanced Elder Dragons in the mainline franchise, right? If I were to talk about Frontiers, don't even get me started because finding information for Frontiers, that's a whole nother ballpark, right? But like for Valstrax, it's he's he's balanced in the way that he's fast, he's powerful, um, and unlike Nergigante, he's not going to run out of stamina either. I think a lot of people forget Nergigante gets tired. He's one of the only Elder Dragons I'm pretty sure that gets tired in a fight, right? Lore wise, he gets tired. Even in game, he gets tired because when you're fighting an Elder Dragon, another Elder Dragon in game, you're not gonna. You gotta wait until you see the skull icon on the map because they're not gonna show that they're tired, right? And lore wise, they don't get tired at all. And so when you're fighting Nergigante, when he's about to get slain, he's drooling and he's tired. So it's like when you do these debates with Nergigante and their fans, just mention, well, yeah, he gets tired. What's he really gonna do against a monster that gets tired? I think a lot of people forget Nergigante. His fighting style is like finishing a fight fast enough, right? He's very smart. Don't get me wrong, too. Like the shower stuff, I'm still working on a video for that. But like he's smart, but like he's not crazy smart like these other Elder Dragons, mind you. But like he's smart enough to know that he needs to finish a fight fast or he's not going to win the fight just because he gets tired, right? And so another problem with them too is that people run with his title, the Eater of Elder Dragons. So people run that and say like, well, yeah, he's meant to be like a counter to every Elder Dragon in the game, and that is not really true. You could be what's the word? I forgot the word. You can excel in doing something, but you're not the best at it, right? You can excel in doing something, but you're not going to be the best at it, right? Because people take that title and use that for their debates and stuff, right? And so a lot of people, at least Nergigante fans, just needs to learn that when you do these debates in the franchise, like monster against monster, you have to take a lot into account. You need to take speed, you need to take their physicals, you need to take what their strengths and weaknesses are. And Nergigante's weaknesses is definitely the fact that he gets tired in these fights. And like, I think I've seen an animation. It's pretty popular. So they had Valstrax doing his around the world move, and it was just Nergigante catching that attack. And I'm just sitting here like, I don't think he would really catch that because that attack is very, very fast. And I did a calculation with that thanks to my friend. When Valstrax used that around the world move, right? And if you take his title, like since he's like the fastest Elder Dragon, he can probably outscale the meteor showers that Crimson Fatalis can do. If you really want to believe that Valstrax, considering that he's the fastest Elder Dragon, can like move faster than Crimson Fatalis meteors, which do come from space. So like if Ralph were to use that move, sure it breaks the sound barrier, but um it could probably go further than that. I don't think Nargante is gonna catch that. Even though that animation was good, I like seeing that, but he's definitely not catching Ralph when he does the around the world move because like that move, you're not supposed to like. That's like an ambush move, right? You're not gonna react to that either way. Even when I'm fighting him, I don't react to that move at all. Like that's a move you just can't react to, um, unless you're prepared, you know. And well, unless you're good at parry, right? But it's whatever at that point. But I'm pretty tired of just talking about Nergigante now. I'm not gonna lie, right? So like, what other matchups do I see? Oh yeah, I think another one is like um. hmm, I'll be right back. Actually, I'm gonna look for some. Oh yeah. Oh my God. I didn't even know I had like four people in here right now. But I'm taking a quick break. I've been yapping for like like the past like hour. But I'm gonna pause the stream real quick. If you guys have like any questions, like debate wise or just my sign wise, let me know. And when I come back, I'll answer it. Because this is a like a discussion. I put debate there. I should have put that, but I'm put discussion next time for y'all. And yeah, but the last topic I was talking about was like Valstrax versus Nergigante. Mind you, I'm talking about like in general, like Ruiner as well, and then Crimson Glow Valstrax as well. Like if y'all are listening and y'all want to answer like with y'all opinions, go ahead. That was the last thing I was talking about. Because I do want to still talk about that one. But yeah, give me about like 2 minutes probably. Uh, but yeah, even if I don't like talk back verbally to you, I will, be in the comments just talking as well. Oh yeah, I should also mention Bloodbath Diablos too. I should. Uh, a lot of people really a lot of people don't know like how strong he really is. So it's like when you do mention him, people be like, "Who are you talking about?" Like I'm talking about one of the Unrivaled two. Like no way, like bro. Like I know everybody has not played like Generations Ultimate like that, but he's still like the flagship for that game. I'm pretty sure, right? Like he's like the final monster you really fight, and even then, he's already outright confirmed to be like had destroy like nations and like armies and whatnot. So it's really like he's still on that same tier as like most of these elder dragons and whatnot. So like a lot of people don't really mention him because I have no reason why. Like like one of the strongest monsters and whatnot. And believe it or not, like Bloodbath can like honestly Bloodbath Diablos is like definitely stronger than like Furious for Jane. You know, I would die on that hill. A lot of people do not know like the sauce that Bloodbath Diablos has, and it's just like yeah, okay, like I'll teach you like how strong Bloodbath Diablos is, and what I found out is like definitely stronger than Furious for Jane, definitely stronger than like Savage Devil Joe and stuff. Like I'm not saying like these monsters outright lose against Bloodbath, right? But like he's certainly not losing either. Is the thing. And like everybody hypes up like Rajang and stuff, but I think his time is done. Like it's time we let go like that archetype, like big strong brute monster is stronger and is the strongest. Like Nergigante has that same problem too. Like I think it's yeah, like that's cool, right? They just brute force, they're physical, like they get through the world like with just like punching and stuff. But like their time is done, you know? And it's just like I'm happy too. Like I like honestly speaking, it's just a lot of people just overhype these monsters sometimes. Like Rajang and Nergigante. And I notice it's usually the monsters that are like physically gifted that they overhype too. It might be a thing that people like just seeing, right? It kind of reminds me like Rock Lee type of stuff, but I don't know. It's funny, and so it's just I don't know. Like I think I'm now starting to get why people are just like very tired of like Rajang fans, right? Because they feel like an offshoot of like Nergigante fans too. And like they can genuinely like the monster, right? Don't get me wrong, but when like people's main complaint is when they keep overhyping the strength of the monster, right? Thinking that they can't lose a fight or whatever, and it's just a bit funny, if anything, and it's just I don't know. People just have this weird bias towards other monsters that are not their favorite, but like I'm the same way too. but like I'm not about to like when do discussion stuff. Not about to just let being biased um, take the wheel of like what I say because I don't believe in doing that. There eat chat balls. Ooh,
I was
oh, it's
given a
probably
message for you.
just yeah. That's a gold. That's a gold icon. Don't tell me the freaking Akuma event is like canon.
Hey, Hunter. I have a bunch of things the others gathered for you. Yes.
It would be funny,
Please tell me what you need.
though. I do
I'd
think
like
it
to help.
is. Thank you.
Goodbye.
But yeah, just like my thoughts, my final thoughts. Like, I think people just needs to stop hyping up like Jang in general now, as well as Nergigante too. I think personally, not even personally, I think they're just not that like imposing anymore, right? Because we have Magnum now, right? I love Magnum. Like, and but like what Magnum showed us,
Anything
right,
urgent,
and
Hunter?
what people say about him, like lore wise, it's definitely like the strongest, like out of the most famed invaders, like Devil Joe, Betelgeuse, and Rajang and stuff. Like I do think Magnum is the strongest out of those four. And
Super.
this also goes to like their variants too. I think Spore Magnum definitely is stronger. And it's for the simple fact that like Squirm Magnamalo is fighting Primordial Malzeno pretty well. So it's really like, and we all know like Primordial Malzeno is it definitely outclasses Ruiner and Gigante, right? Maybe not in like freaking what's the word, weight class and or physicals if you want to be technical, but Primordial Malzeno is definitely stronger than Ruiner and Gigante, and by extension, Swarm Magnamalo is as well. Because I'm pretty sure Swarm Magnamalo does fight Kana in the turf war, and Swarm Magnamalo look like it does way better than Runa Nergigante ever does, which is the funny part. And so it's like it really tells you like Capcom they're pretty much telling us like the chain of like who's stronger than the other and stuff. And then sometimes they don't even need to show us. It just takes context clues and compare and contrast and whatnot. And even what the characters in game say about these specific monsters and what they have going for them. Like I was sold when I learned that Magnamello gets stronger as it fights. So it's like if this monster is getting stronger as it fights, right? At some point when it gets to a threshold, it's basically just gonna you know beat up whoever is fighting. You know, and a lot of people they don't take most of this stuff into account either. Like I mentioned before, Nergigante's biggest weakness is the fact it gets tired. You're pitting a monster that gets tired against a monster that does not get tired at all, and you're expecting it to come out on top. When Nergigante's whole style, if you have not noticed, is more of a I need to finish this fight fast before I get tired. That's literally what it is, right? He's not good for a battle of attrition. I don't know why people think he is, but he's not. And I think outright saying, "Well, oh yeah, Nergigante is a stronger, so he wins." No, it's more than just saying that a monster is stronger than or not. And this it doesn't even only tie to this fan base; it ties to the other fan bases too. Like a lot of people just if they're in the same like tier, right? And if they're so when or in a similar weight class, you got to look at other stuff, right? You're not just looking at one thing and going with it. You got to be like all encompassing when it comes to that type of stuff. Like that's why I think Nargante, at least Ruiner, weighs more than Primordial Mazino. But like when you like compare and contrast like Ruiner Nargigante's showings and Primordial Mazino's showings, Primordial Mazino got Ruiner Nargigante beat by like nine out of 10 times, right? That one time, I'll give it to it, but I just don't see Ruiner just winning that interaction at all. And like I said before, Ruiner Nargigante is I need to finish this fight fast, right? And if it's just not gonna work at all. And I know this is not canon at all, but like Monster Hunter Stories 2, like for some reason, Nargigante thinks it could just fight any day. Like I don't know why it was running for Altura, but like it got swallowed whole, easy. I don't know why it thinks like that. Like, you know, people just like very, at least his fans are just very, very, I guess the right word would be stubborn.
Yes.
Not wants to be rude.
Understood. Hey. What are we making today? Subar? See you later. Right. I'm happy to help anytime. Subar. 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 Subar.
Oh my god! Now I see why I keep doing that. Okay, that's not what I want. Oh, I'm looking for Lagarcus. I think I'm gonna do one hunt and then I'll end the stream because I've been yapping just the whole time. But I guess the final topic, at least for the versus type of stuff, I could talk about is um, hmm, I don't know actually. Like I guess since Lagarcus came out, I could talk about him.
Shebar.
Why is all Arkville just popping up everywhere, bro? I do not want to see him. But yeah, Lagarcus is an interesting monster. At least when it comes to like these versus debates people have, because like he's definitely up there. At least Abyssal Lagarcus is. Then I found out some interesting stuff about him.
Shebar.
I mean, Seregios is here, but I need Lagarcus stuff.
Shebar.
Jeez, bro. I don't know too. I know there's a way I could get Lagarcus to just pop up, but I'd rather not do all that. But yeah, like I said before, I'm down to answer like any topics y'all might have, like
Shebar.
in regard to like versus matchup stuff or just in general. Oh my god, I'm not fighting. Nah, temperate Lagarcus, bro. He scares me. I'm fine. Yep, brother does scare me. I'm good off that. You just do 20 and call it. Hey, not to waste time keep doing that.
Shebar. Shebar.
I also do think people like sleep on a Cantor and like Ucanos a lot as well. Like those are two monsters like that are just certified like one of the
Hey, Hunter.
like top
I have a
10
bunch of things the others gathered for you.
strongest monsters, at least for mainline monster. But for some reason, people don't like talking about them. Oh yeah, they appeared in a few games, right? It would be cool to see them in like modern Monster Hunter because I'm kind of tired of hearing the excuses., they're too big or this skeleton is this and that. when y'all was able to still do it with like less than optimal um computering and stuff. I don't know how that works.
Do you have a moment?
I
I have a lot
know
of things for
that
you for
that's just an excuse to keep doing. And then don't even get me started on how they be treating the snake wyverns. Like we only got one. Salamander don't count. It's just nodule. And I don't really count subspecies too. Cause like, yeah, like okay. I'm not finding
I was given a message for you.
yeah, I'm not finding a guide for this at all. So I'm gonna end it there. It's 11 o'clock. I've been streaming for like 2 hours. But I'm gonna do more of these actually. And just yeah to the air because like I do like getting these debates off my chest anyway. But yeah, I'll I'll see y'all in the next week. I stream weekly, but yeah, that's really it for this. I don't got too much to say. I said enough actually, so I'll catch y'all around.